I never thought my own parents would betray me to protect my brother's image. But that's exactly what happened. I'm 31F. My younger brother, Daniel, is 28. To my parents, he's always been the golden child. While I was the quiet one studying late nights, working part-time, saving money for college, Daniel was the charming kid who could do no wrong. Even when he got into trouble, they'd say things like, "Boys will be boys," or "He just needs guidance." I should have realized a long time ago that I'd never be treated equally. But I didn't expect things to go this far. For context, I worked hard after college and eventually became a project manager at a mid-sized tech firm. Nothing flashy, but stable, respectable, and I'm proud of what I built. I bought my own condo, I travel when I want, and I have a small circle of friends who genuinely support me. Daniel, on the other hand, bounced from job to job, racked up debt, and lived at home well into his mid-20s. Somehow he was still the star child in my parents' eyes. The real blow came last year. I met someone amazing, Ethan, and after 2 years together he proposed. It was private and beautiful. Naturally, I told my parents first. Their reaction? Flat, no excitement. My mom just asked, "Are you sure you want to rush into this?" My dad stayed quiet. That night my brother posted a picture on Instagram of him with a new car my parents helped him finance, and the comment section was full of "Proud mom, proud dad" replies. I got a "congrats" text 2 days later. Still, I kept them involved. I invited them to help with planning. I sent them the guest list. I asked my mom if she wanted to come dress shopping with me. She said she was too busy. But when Daniel's girlfriend posted a picture of them trying on outfits for a weekend getaway, my mom commented, "My beautiful future daughter-in-law." I brushed it off. Fast forward to my wedding day. It was everything I hoped for. Outdoor ceremony, simple and elegant, close friends, Ethan's family, co-workers, cousins. But as I walked down the aisle, I noticed 2 glaring empty seats. My parents. They never showed up. No call, no text, nothing. My husband's parents stepped in for the parent dances. It hurt like nothing else, but I pushed through and told myself not to let them ruin it. 2 weeks later, I finally reached my mom. Her excuse? We didn't receive a formal invitation. Which was a lie. I had proof of delivery for both the physical and email invites. Then she slipped and admitted, "We just couldn't bring ourselves to sit there knowing your brother hasn't settled yet. It wouldn't look right." I froze. My own parents skipped my wedding because they didn't want Daniel to look bad for not being married first. I stayed quiet at first, but word got out. Relatives asked why my parents weren't there. I told the truth. They skipped because they didn't want me marrying before Daniel. No extra details, no dramatics, just the facts. Slowly it spread. My aunt called me in tears, saying she had always suspected favoritism, but never imagined it was this blatant. My uncle stopped inviting my parents to gatherings. Cousins sent me supportive messages. Meanwhile, my parents called me vindictive for airing private matters. Then things got worse. For them. Daniel got engaged 6 months later, and my parents threw everything into it. Lavish venue, luxury suit fittings, a giant engagement party with catered food and decorations. But people started declining invitations. Some openly told them they couldn't support how they treated me. Others quietly avoided the drama. My mom called me furious, blaming me for poisoning the family and trying to ruin Daniel's big moment. I finally snapped. I told her, "I didn't ruin anything. I just told the truth. If your truth makes you look bad, that's on you." She sputtered excuses, then started crying about how hard it is to be misunderstood. My dad chimed in saying I was jealous, that I always wanted to overshadow Daniel. For once I didn't argue. I simply said, "Maybe I was jealous. Jealous of the love you gave him so freely and never gave me. But I'm done chasing it." And I hung up. For the first time, I felt free. Not happy, not relieved right away, but free. Ethan held my hand that night and said, "They can't hurt you anymore unless you let them." And he was right. Now Daniel's wedding is approaching, but the cracks are showing. Their perfect family image is falling apart. My parents are scrambling to convince relatives to come, but more and more people see through them. I don't have to lift a finger. The truth is doing all the work. And honestly, I'm not even angry anymore. I just feel sad for them, because while they're still obsessed with appearances and favoritism, I'm building something real. A marriage, a family, a life with people who actually love me for who I am. That's something no amount of staged photos or bragging rights can replace. After that phone call, I went no contact for a while. My parents didn't reach out again except through guilt-tripping texts like, "Family should stick together," and "You'll regret this when we're gone." I didn't reply. Ethan reminded me every day. Silence is the strongest answer. And silence hurt them more than yelling ever could. But family gossip spreads fast. At a cousin's birthday, my aunt came up to me and whispered, "Your mom's been calling everyone crying, saying you're trying to destroy your brother's wedding." I laughed. I hadn't said a single word to anyone since the truth came out. I told my aunt, "If they're destroying themselves, that's not my fault." She nodded. As Daniel's wedding planning went on, my parents doubled down on appearances. They posted every detail online: cake tastings, fittings, decor, with captions like, "So proud of our son." Meanwhile, their friends commented things like, "Can't wait for the big day." But under the surface, not everyone was excited. People remembered what they did at my wedding. One day my cousin sent me screenshots. In a family group chat without me, my mom wrote, "We're asking everyone to be positive and not bring up what happened last year at the wedding. It's water under the bridge." My cousin replied, "It's not water under the bridge. You skipped your daughter's wedding. That doesn't wash away." Silence followed. Then another cousin added, "If you cared about appearances, maybe start by apologizing." My mom left the chat. That's when I realized I didn't need to do anything. The more they tried to cover up, the more obvious their favoritism became. But things took a turn when Daniel called me out of the blue. He rarely called unless he wanted something. This time he started with, "Hey, listen, I know Mom and Dad messed up, but can you just show up to my wedding? For the family? It'll make things easier." I was stunned. He wasn't apologizing. He wasn't acknowledging anything. He just wanted me there to clean up their image. I told him, "You didn't show up for me when they abandoned me. You didn't say a word. Why would I do this for you?" He sighed, muttered something about me being dramatic, then said, "Fine, but don't blame me when people think you're bitter." And he hung up. That was the moment I decided. I wasn't going, not because of bitterness, but because I deserved peace. Ethan supported me fully. He even said, "Let's take another trip during their wedding. Celebrate our own joy while they scramble." The idea felt perfect, so when Daniel's wedding day arrived, Ethan and I were boarding a flight to Hawaii. I posted one picture, just a beach view with the caption, "Choosing Peace." Nothing more. My phone buzzed nonstop during the trip. Dozens of missed calls. Messages like, "Where are you? This is embarrassing." And, "You've made your point, now stop." I ignored them all. Later, my cousin filled me in. Half the guests noticed my absence right away. People asked my parents, "Is your daughter coming?" My mom said, "She's busy with work." Someone else chimed in, "Didn't she invite you to her wedding? And you didn't show?" The room went quiet. Tension grew. Then, in the middle of the reception, the groom's best man, who also knew me, gave a speech and accidentally said, "At least Daniel showed up to his own wedding, unlike his parents at his sister's." The entire hall froze. My parents' faces turned red. My mom stormed out. Guests whispered all night. When I heard that, I didn't smile. I didn't gloat. I just felt done. They had destroyed their own reputation. I didn't lift a finger. Weeks later, my mom tried to spin it again. She called me, sobbing, "You ruined Daniel's wedding by not being there. Everyone judged us." I calmly replied, "No, you ruined my wedding first. That's what people remember." And I hung up. Now months have passed. I've kept my distance. My parents still call occasionally, but the tone has changed. No more superiority. No more golden child bragging. Just quiet, hesitant attempts at small talk. Ethan says they finally realize I won't play their game anymore. The irony? My life is thriving. Work promoted me. Ethan and I are planning our own family. We spend weekends traveling, cooking, laughing. Meanwhile, my parents sit in a house full of broken silence, wondering why the family they wanted to show off so badly keeps slipping through their fingers. And I don't feel revenge. I feel freedom, because the truth was never mine to twist. It was theirs to face. After Daniel's wedding, the silence in my family became heavier. My parents tried to pretend nothing happened, posting smiling pictures from the event, but the comments under them told a different story. A few relatives wrote things like, "Where was your daughter?" Or "Didn't she get married last year?" My mom deleted those comments, but people noticed. You can't erase the truth once it's out. A week later, my grandma called me. She rarely interfered in family drama, but her voice was sharp. She asked, "Why didn't your parents come to your wedding?" I told her everything, simply and honestly. There was a long pause. Then she said, "I knew they favored your brother, but missing your wedding? That's shameful. I raised them better." Her words meant more than she realized, because for once, someone from the older generation acknowledged it. Not long after, Daniel's wife reached out to me. She messaged on social media saying, "I don't know the full story, but I want peace in the family. Can we meet?" I agreed, mostly out of curiosity. We met for coffee. She seemed nervous, almost embarrassed. She admitted that people at the wedding whispered nonstop about my parents' absence from mine. She said Daniel brushed it off, but she could tell it bothered him. Then she asked me directly, "Do you plan on keeping distance forever?" I answered truthfully, "As long as they keep pretending nothing happened, yes. I'm not punishing anyone. I'm just protecting myself." She nodded, but I could see in her eyes. She hadn't realized how deep this wound ran. The cracks in Daniel's marriage showed quickly. My cousin told me that his wife didn't like how dependent he still was on my parents. He leaned on them for money, decisions, even approval. And now, because of all the wedding drama, their relationship was under a microscope. Every fight between them circled back to, "Your parents treat your sister horribly," and "You never stood up for her." I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. Meanwhile, my parents' reputation kept sinking. At Thanksgiving, my aunt confronted them in front of everyone. She said, "You humiliated your own daughter, and now you want us to pretend like you're perfect parents? Enough!" My mom burst into tears at the table. My dad tried to argue, but no one backed him. I stayed quiet, just listening. For once I wasn't the target. They were. When the holidays came, I made my decision. Ethan and I hosted Christmas at our condo, inviting cousins, friends, and even a few aunts and uncles. I didn't invite my parents. Word spread fast. Some relatives chose sides and skipped, but others came and told me, "This feels like real family." We cooked, played games, exchanged small gifts. It was warm, genuine, peaceful. I realized I didn't need the approval of people who never valued me. I could build my own circle. Then came the phone call I didn't expect. My dad, usually the silent one, called me late at night. His voice was shaky. He said, "Your mother's not well. She's been stressed since the wedding. She feels like everyone's turned against her." I listened quietly. Then he added, "Can't you just forgive and move on? For the family?" That old line again. For the family. I asked him, "Did you even apologize for missing my wedding?" Silence. He didn't answer. I hung up. Days later, I got another call. This time from my grandma. She said my parents had shown up at her house crying, begging her to fix things. She told them, "You broke it, not her. If you want forgiveness, start with honesty." That was the first time anyone put the blame squarely on them. I couldn't help but feel a wave of relief. Daniel, on the other hand, tried to guilt-trip me again. He texted, "You're tearing this family apart with your stubbornness." I replied with one line, "I didn't tear it apart. I just stopped pretending." He never answered. Months passed. Ethan and I thrived. Work was going well, we traveled more, and I felt lighter without the constant drama. My parents, though, kept spiraling. Relatives stopped inviting them to gatherings. Their carefully crafted perfect family image shattered. And the best part? I never had to shout, fight, or seek revenge. I simply told the truth and chose silence. That was enough. Then last month, Daniel's wife contacted me again. This time, her tone was different. She confessed that she and Daniel were fighting constantly, that she was exhausted being in the middle of his family's mess. She even admitted, "Sometimes I wish he was more like you. Independent, firm, not afraid to set boundaries." I didn't know how to respond. I just told her, "That's something only Daniel can fix." And I left it there. Now as I sit here telling this, I realize something important. My parents lost me the moment they chose appearances over love. They may never admit it, but their silence at my wedding was louder than any words. It spoke the truth, that I was never their priority. But instead of breaking me, it freed me, because while they cling to an image, I have a life, a real one, and nothing they do can take that away. Spring came around, and with it another round of family gatherings. Easter had always been one of those big events for us. My mom would host, cook too much food, and invite everyone. But this year it was different. No one wanted to go to my parents' house. Cousins whispered to me privately that they were tired of the tension, tired of watching my mom fake smiles while my dad pretended nothing had happened. So, instead of the usual tradition, my cousin Melissa decided to host Easter herself. She invited me and Ethan first, then slowly extended the invite to others. Word spread fast, and by the time Easter Sunday arrived, nearly everyone showed up, except my parents. I remember walking in with Ethan, carrying a homemade dish, and the room actually cheered. Not loud clapping, but those genuine smiles, those "finally you're here" looks. It was subtle, but it meant everything. For once I wasn't the outsider. My parents were. Later that evening, Melissa pulled me aside. She told me my mom had called her earlier, furious, demanding to know why she wasn't hosting Easter. Melissa said, "I told her we wanted something different this year. Honestly, everyone's tired of walking on eggshells." I couldn't stop myself from laughing. The tide had officially turned, but my parents didn't take it well. The next week, my mom sent me a long, guilt-ridden message. She wrote, "You've poisoned the family against us. You'll regret this when we're gone." I stared at the screen, shaking my head. Even now, after everything, it was still about control, never accountability. I didn't respond. I let the silence do the work. Meanwhile, Daniel's life kept unraveling. His wife confided in Melissa that he was borrowing money constantly. Not just from our parents, but from friends too. The honeymoon phase ended fast, and reality set in. Their arguments got worse, and soon she stopped showing up to family events altogether. Rumors started swirling. Talk of separation, of fights so bad the neighbors heard. And while I didn't wish her pain, a small part of me thought, karma moves quick sometimes. By summer, my parents were desperate. They tried another strategy, acting nice. They sent me innocent texts. "How are you? How's Ethan?" My dad even sent me an old family photo with the caption, "Remember when things were simple?" But I wasn't fooled. They weren't trying to reconnect. They were trying to reset, to erase their mistakes without ever admitting them. Then came the breaking point. My grandma's birthday party. She turned 80 and everyone gathered at my aunt's house to celebrate. My parents showed up, all smiles, like nothing had ever happened. At first they avoided me, but as the night went on, the tension built. Finally, in front of everyone, my mom walked over and said loudly, "We need to talk." "You've punished us long enough." The room went quiet. I stood there holding a plate, staring at her, and I said calmly, "Punished you? You weren't at my wedding." Gasps rippled around the room. My dad jumped in. "We had our reasons." And I cut him off. "Your reason was Daniel. That's all it ever is. Him first, always." No one moved. No one spoke. Until my grandma, sitting at the head of the table, tapped her cane on the floor and said, "She's right." My mom's face crumbled. My dad turned red. And suddenly the perfect mask they had worn for years shattered in front of everyone. That was the night everything changed. Relatives stopped defending them. Some even apologized to me privately for not speaking up sooner. My parents left early, humiliated, while I stayed, laughing with cousins, cutting cake, and for once, feeling like I truly belonged. After that, the distance became permanent. My parents kept trying, angry texts, then guilt, then fake kindness. But I stopped responding altogether. I built my life without them. Ethan and I thrived. We traveled, built a home, made real friends who treated me better than my own blood ever did. And the irony? My family finally started to see me, not as the problem, not as the overreacting child, but as the one who broke the cycle, the one who refused to be silent anymore. Because in the end, my revenge wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was simply this: I lived well without them, and that silence, that life they couldn't control, was louder than any words I could have said.